Happy Wednesday, hump day. LL, what's goody? Welcome in. Lefty will be here shortly. He's going to be hopping in. I want to get started. Didn't want to have you guys waiting. Brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you drink responsibly. Today, big things, great news, great audio. The offensive coordinators. Kudos to Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman for giving more access to the assistant coaches than the media and the fan base has had in the last decade. It's absolutely amazing. It assists us in being able to cover this team in this game. And I think it's a great thing that Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman are doing by giving us access to the assistant coaches the way that they do, and the players as well. Good stuff from Blake Fisher yesterday. We'll hear from Blake Fisher. As I said before, we're going to hear from both coordinators, Tommy Rees and Al Golden. And then we're going to talk about Marcus Freeman, the level of accountability that he's establishing, and the flow chart for that accountability, and ask the question of the day, LL Nation. Is Marcus Freeman too honest? Is Marcus Freeman too honest? That might be kind of a loaded question considering the lack of honesty that we got for the last decade or so from the head coach position. But do you feel like Marcus Freeman is too honest when he speaks to the media? Lucky Lefty Podcast. Make sure you tell others about the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Thank you to everyone that showed Malik love. Show left a lot of love out in Vegas last weekend. We're going to continue to spin it different and cover Notre Dame football unlike anyone else. So today's show is titled, if you saw the picture, Back in the Day. And I wish, if it wasn't for copyright purposes, I would cue up the instrumental to Pharrell's Frontin' right now, right? Because yesterday, the number one recruit in the nation, in my opinion, who was a one-time, long-time commit to Notre Dame, said that he had an announcement coming. And a lot of people thought that he was going to be committing somewhere, only to realize that Hayes Fawcett had put up a poster by which Keon Keeley released his top four schools remaining, right? Ohio State, Alabama, Florida, and then, of course, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Look, man, I'm going to be honest because, I want to know how you guys felt about it when you saw it yesterday. The situation is what it is. And, I talked to some recruits, and I'm going to talk about a specific recruit that might have tipped his hand a little bit on the post. I believe when the post went up on IG, there's a certain 2023 recruit and target that commented under the post and looked like he was trying to recruit Keon Keeley to Notre Dame. Very interesting. Very interesting. Might have been telling in his own recruitment. I'll just leave it at that. But as we think about this in a situation, we were very open and honest at how we thought the whole recruitment, as we bring Left into the building, was good, Left.
What's up, baby?
We started the show talking about the social media foolishness with Keon Keeley posting his top four schools yesterday: Florida, Alabama, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. And we were transparent and honest when we talked about how, his recruitment was kind of a tragedy in a sense. Like We know there's a business side with NIL and everything coming into the mix now, which is totally different. And don't forget, Coach Carl Reed is going to be joining us shortly. But the way it went down was just kind of questionable, to say the least. And when you think about that, bro, for him to put Notre Dame as top 4, heck, you know what? His love for Notre Dame can still be the same. We said it. If he's going to hop back in with Notre Dame, that's going to be on him. The Notre Dame was very clear, like, he decommitted. If he contacts Notre Dame and says, yo, I want to come in for the Clemson game, I want to come in for another visit, there's really nothing else for Notre Dame to do. I don't know how you feel, Left. I've never dated somebody again that I broke up with. I've never done that. I know people that have. I've never done it. And I'm not talking about in the midst of, you've been with someone 5 years, it gets to a certain point, and you don't talk for a week or something like that. But I'm talking about just flat out like, nah, I'm done. I'm officially moved on. But this is recruiting. This is the recruiting in 2022, bro. I wonder if Notre Dame fans took it as a slap in the face. How do you feel about it?
I don't know. I think if winning on a large scale was a factor for us, if we beat Ohio State, I think that he would have recommitted. I think those are opportunities to, in a lot of ways, win recruiting games as well, especially first game of the season. You just decommitted. He would have been really high. I don't even think he would have went to Alabama if we won that game. If Isaiah Fauci had 3 or 4 sacks, went crazy. So I do think that we played a factor in that the whole time.
Yeah.
We only hurt ourselves, the more we don't dominate and display dominance. If you look at the other couple teams that he has in his top 4, those are dominant teams. I'll say Florida because he's from there, but Ohio State and Alabama, most Ohio State, Alabama, I saw a stat the other day, have 50% of the 5 stars in the class. So, Ohio State and Alabama always have great recruiting pitches for guys like this. So for us to get the outlier in this case, we would have to be at least showing or displaying the same level of dominance at the time. I think Keon felt like that was on the way with Notre Dame. Plus, he just probably liked Marcus Freeman more than the other 2 coaches, which is an edge up. But we also got to be able to make sure we can win like those other programs consistently. I think losing to Ohio State didn't help us. But, we still have time to prove where we can be at. I think at the same time, we're Notre Dame, so I don't know how much, we see what he's doing and give that credence to continue to push really hard for him. We just kind of like, okay, if you come back, you come back. But still a great recruit. Still think we have Impemba in the running. We just got to, once again, continue to win. And I think that solves a lot of the indecision on some people's parts.
Lucky Lefty podcast brought to you by Onora Whisky. Talking about Keon Keeley announcing his top 4 yesterday and Notre Dame being in the mix. Left, I'll be honest with you. I said what I said. I've never experienced being back with somebody, but this is recruiting and this is Notre Dame. And this is the number 1 player in the nation coming off the edge. You better believe if he calls, you darn right I want him back. I'm singing Michael Jackson. I want you back. Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting my bros, my 3 brothers, and my cousins, and we forming the Jackson 5. I'm posting an IG video like, yes, I want you back.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, and if you get him back for a Clemson visit, in November and come up with an impressive game in front of him, because I believe we know the ins and outs of certain things that happen with that recruiting. And that's why we called it a tragedy. Notre Dame is his first love from a recruiting standpoint. And you never forget that first love. You never do. And it was hard for him to pull the trigger. Once again, I want to point out him decommitting from Notre Dame was a very difficult decision for him personally that pulled on his heart.
No, facts.
And he was put in between situations and family. And it was just like at that age, the process shouldn't be that complex, but it is what it is.
It is,
you
what
know,
it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And as much as I didn't like to see it, and as much as I felt like, come on, man. He still, I know one thing. I don't know how strong everything is from a recruiting standpoint, but there is not another class that he has more brothers in than the Notre Dame class.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the kid, in order to do what he did, he had to cut off his brothers. That's how difficult it was. Like, as he knew if he kept talking to them, like he knew. And it's to the point now where I think there has been, I'm going to be honest with you. The Peyton Bowen recruitment, the more Peyton Bowen becomes locked in to Notre Dame, the chances of him feeling like I want to be a part of that special class.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to have to take. He has to be able to say, you know what? My first mind was right. I hear you, Alabama. I hear you, Ohio State. But this right here, this is what I wanted to do from the jump.
Exactly.
And like you said, Notre Dame on the field has to do their part in improving and showing, yeah, that's what I want to be a part of. So, and I think that's been happening over the last 3 weeks. And I think that's why you start to sense that Peyton Bowen is a little bit more locked in. Of course, Oklahoma looking just absolutely awful probably helps in that as well. But you start to feel a little bit better.
Yeah, you start to feel a little bit better, but still, man, it's like this recruiting battle. This is why it's the most highly anticipated thing in college football because it's so interesting. It can go so many different ways. It's its own drama. So I love the fact that, you have so much ability to fall in love with the recruiting battle. And these kids, they understand the same thing. They see the fanfare, they see the attention and what it brings. Especially in high school, you get to move the needle so much as a 5-star player like Keon is. You get to take these trips whenever you want to go to the lit events and games that's going on. So we get it. It's a lot to take in for a kid and a lot of decisions to make because these schools don't make it easy. They're gonna give you some good options. Oregon, like we said, Oregon dropped off that shoe deal. Dante talking a little different,
Right.
and that's like you said, that's the start of the recruitment.
Dude, look, I told you. Hey, if I had a visit, Oregon's on the list, and I'm definitely getting on the mailing list for the sneakers, bro.
That's right.
At minimum.
At minimum.
At
minimum. Then Hawaii, I'm going to Hawaii, and you take the fam to Hawaii for a little recruiting visit.
Yeah.
Just to official too. We're gonna get the official and get a couple extra days in. I might really consider it. If I'm the 5-star guy, let me just go ahead and take a quick trip.
I'm doing a whole business, bro. I'm getting my size put on the list. I'm getting my daughter's size put on the list. I'm getting the missus size put on the list. And I'm starting an eBay store. I'm reselling surf shoes. I'm doing it all. I'm telling you, I'm setting up my own business as a recruit.
Off of leveraging.
Well, if I were a recruit, it wouldn't be my wife and daughter. It would be my mom and dad and my siblings. But it's still the same process. I'm setting up an eBay store and everything.
everything.
Coach Carl Reed from 247 24/7 Sports joins us in a few moments right here to talk some CFB recruiting and Notre Dame. But yeah, it was interesting, as I said before. A 23 recruit was seen under the IG post of the top 4 recruiting for Notre Dame. And once again, I did not say a 23 commit. I said a 23 recruit target was seen recruiting for Notre Dame under his IG post where he listed his top 4, Keon Keeley. So, that might have been a sneak peek into what is to come in his recruitment, but you have to feel good. After somewhat of a desert, Notre Dame got off to a scorching hot start in the 23 class. You had a couple of decommitments, a little dip, a little drop in the rankings, and now, in the next month or so, things can really turn around, and you might get that top 3, top 5 recruiting class that you felt like it could be, even when it was number 1. I mean, because you expected Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State to make a run. You're on mute, bro.
Unless we were number 1 in the country, I didn't really see us winning the number 1 spot in recruiting. I thought we would be like top 3, If we were number 1, I'd see us having a good chance of this year grabbing a Keon, grabbing an Impemba, without a doubt being a number 1 team. Not being a number 1 team, but still being right there, I think we wanted to finish 3. We still have a lot of opportunity. November 5th is our Super Bowl for recruiting.
Absolutely.
Along with finishing the season the right way. But I think that's a great chance for us to still be number 3, at least top 5, and that's still competitive enough to build on, because we want this to be a build on second recruiting cycle for Marcus Freeman, and that's a good start, because then you can get that quarterback the next class, get a superstar edge rusher, you're going to have a couple tight ends anyway, grab a receiver, you right there.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. The missing piece right now for that class is without question the quarterback position. We'll see if Notre Dame has success flipping one of these 23 kids. Lucky Lefty podcast, Shaun Davis, Malik, Zaire. Pleased to welcome, man, big bro of the program. He's been on with us plenty of times, man. We love. Go follow this dude, man. Him, his co-host, he does a show daily on 24/7. And then if you follow him on Instagram, he's one of the greatest followers on Instagram and Twitter, not just when it comes to college football and recruiting, but just the knowledge of certain things and the wisdom. And I'm gonna have to take a visit, because if these older gentlemen are still living, that he got all this wisdom from back in the day, I'm gonna have to come up and get some of that wisdom from the old guys and the OGs that you spent your life around, bro. Once again, Coach Carl Reed joins us on the Lucky Lefty podcast. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, guys, man. It's always good to tap in with you and be here.
Absolutely. So how things going? How did you enjoy Chambana? Those are my stomping grounds from college. How did you enjoy Chambana?
Well, man, it's always good to go down. I've been there a bunch over the years. My best friend is Kerry Davis, and so I've been there a lot. Going way back to when he was playing, and to see my guy Corey Patterson and the things he's doing with the running backs there, specifically Chase Brown. It was a good trip. Illinois is 5-1, and they don't see that too often in Champaign.
No, sir.
So, Coach Belima is doing a really good job. He's got an excellent staff. You got to talk about what Ryan Walters has done for them defensively, the way he has that defense playing. They had a lot of big-time recruits there. A lot of big-time recruits. They had some recruits that are committed to some big-time programs. So it's going to be interesting to see, how that plays itself out, because recruiting is a thing that always goes down to the wire.
Man, you can say that again, Coach, and we're experiencing that. We were just talking to the fan base before you came on. And before we get to that, I want to tap into something you said, because being based here in Chicago, it became apparent over the last 2 to 3 weeks that some kids that actually were targets to Notre Dame early in the process that have committed to other schools. You know, I found out that they were going to be taking a trip down to Champaign this weekend, and I started to say to myself, like, whoa, okay, if he starts pulling certain kids from the city of Chicago and around Illinois, these top kids, like this program could really start establishing itself in the Big Ten West.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing so. You got to realize his background. I mean, obviously, he won the Big Ten several times at Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and then he got, even though it didn't go probably the way he wanted, he got indoctrinated to the highest level of recruiting that you can go through in the SEC down at Arkansas. So he's been through some wars. He spent time under Bill Belichick. He definitely knows what to do, how to recruit, what to say, and how to sell his program. He's got a magnetic personality, and he's going to always be really good, you know, with the parents, which is very important in recruiting. When you try, and then people always love a winner. If you win, and that's the time to strike, you know, in terms of recruiting.
Coach, give me your 3 keys to turn the program around. Like if there were 3 things that any coach had to do, let's say the next coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, whomever that might be, give me the 3 keys, and it might be different based upon the program, but give me the main things that are pretty consistent when it comes to changing a program.
Number one, you need to flip the roster immediately through recruiting. You need to change the talent. If you're taking over a program that's been losing, especially, you need to change the talent level as fast as you can. And even if you're taking over a program that's been winning, the first thing you need to do is assess what you lost, you know, in terms of turning the talent over. Because people think just because you won last year that you win against this year. The most important thing to turning around a program and keeping it at a high level is recruiting in the players that you get on campus. The second thing that you need to do is you need to have a great developmental program with your strength and conditioning staff, because those are going to be the guys who are around the players the most. So you have to have the guys in place who can develop them, who can get them bigger, stronger, faster, and who can also motivate them to do their jobs and not be causing trouble on campus. And the third thing, and the thing I think that is most overlooked, you need to have excellent coordinators on both sides of the ball who are adaptable to the talent that you have. You don't want a defensive coordinator that's married to the 4-3, but you got 3-4 personnel. You don't want a guy who's married to doing spread RPO stuff, but he doesn't have the trigger man to do it. He has great tailbacks and tight ends. You know, so you have to have adaptability in your system, because some guys, the reason that they struggle is they fall in love with a system of plays or a certain way of playing, and they have talent, but they're not utilizing it properly because they don't have any adaptability in the way that they play.
How do you think that's difficult for a coordinator? Because it seems like to me, there are only a handful of really good coordinators that are able to really truly adapt the way you just spoke about. It was almost like Don Shula was able to, that's what made him a great head coach. He was able to adapt to the talent on his team and win in multiple eras.
More so than being able, it's are you willing? Because I think they all are able. It's a matter of are you willing? You know, you can be a guy who studies, or you say you come up under a certain group of coaches and a certain system, and then you hit a roadblock and the answer is not within the system. You have to be willing. It's kind of like somebody who teaches history. They probably have the ability to be a math teacher, but do they want to study math, you know, and get to know it? And that's really the problem that you have. And a lot of guys will blame it on the players, but you have some great coaches that no matter what are always willing to adapt, you know, to the way they need to play in order to be successful.
So we're talking before you came on about Keon Keeley and making an announcement yesterday, releasing his top 4. That included Florida, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame. He was a longtime Notre Dame commit. His decommitment, you know, just knowing the background was difficult for him. It was weeks of conversation with the Notre Dame staff that eventually led to his commitment. And, you know, if you could allow me to say, Notre Dame was his first love in recruiting, per se. You always remember your first love. And we were asking the fan base, do they still feel slighted to be included in this top 4? And, we were just saying, look, hey, if there's any way you can get a guy like this back, you get him back. Like whatever you have to go through, even if it's left up to him to make the initial contact, you get him back. Is that pretty much just the business? You talk about adaptability with coachings and coaching staffs. Is that something that's going to be a change with how coaches recruit, knowing that with big time players, they might have to go through some roller coasters and up and downs, even after they receive an official commit?
The great coaches have always been adaptable to that over
Yeah.
the years. It's probably happening with decommitting now at a higher clip because of the transfer portal, because the NIL is a major factor. Like we have to acknowledge that how much you're going to get paid and how much money you're going to get is going to be a major factor for kids in recruiting. But it's kind of like if you have kids and you wanted your son to be an engineer, but he decided to be a teacher, are you going to disown him, or are you still going to let him come to Sunday dinner? If you want to win games, players win games, right? So if he wants to come to Notre Dame, then you got to get over it. And everybody should be doing everything that they can to try to convince him that that's the best place for him. Now, ultimately, he may choose to go somewhere else, and that's the game too, and you got to be prepared for that. But these kids have a lot of pressure on them. When you think in terms of social media, when you think in terms of the amount of people who have access to them and the things that they're going through. But with NIL, man, with the transfer portal, it's just so much stuff that goes on now in recruiting that it can get really, really tough on the kid when he's making these decisions.
For kids like him, do you feel like it's unfortunate and they're put in between a rock and a hard place sometimes, in between family, other outside circumstances, what they might feel in their heart, all of the programs that are coming after them? Do you feel like recruiting for these young men has become a more difficult space than it was, say, 10 years ago?
No, man, I don't feel bad for them at all, man. Let me tell you something. You mean to tell me that you got Notre Dame, Florida State, Florida, and Alabama wanting you to let you come to their school for free, and you're going to probably get 6 figures worth of NIL deals to go with that? You ain't got no problems, bro. You ain't got no – I can show you some cats that got some problems. Now, if you want to talk about problems, I can take you and show you some 16-year-olds who got some problems. If you get recruited at that level, you ain't got no problems. The worst case scenario is that you're going to get a degree from one of the top institutions in the world, and you're going to leave with 6 figures also in money if you handle your money right. The best case scenario is that you go to the National Football League and make millions of dollars. There's no losers for the kids. And if you, oh my God, it's so tough. I got so many decisions. It's some people that are deciding tonight whether they're going to eat ice or bread.
Fact.
Those people have problems. These big time prospects, they don't have problems. If they do have a problem, they won't have one for long.
No, yeah, not for long. Not for long. Where is the direction going now with this? How, especially with what Notre Dame should be focused on in terms of not having an expectation of a championship this season, but being able to really want to close out on this recruiting. Like, where is the focus should be at?
Show me the money. You better the alums and the collectives and the donors, they better be doing what Jimbo Fish and them did, and they better be doing what these other schools are doing. They better be able to figure out how they're going to support these athletes with money, because that's what the game is now. And if you really want to compete with those kind of guys to win national championships, you're going to have to secure those type of commitments, and it's going to take your best effort financially.
It was interesting, I believe, just on Monday, 22 commit now defensive back for Notre Dame, Jaden Mickey, signed a contract with Rock Nation to be able to go out there and establish certain things for him. So, that's a good look. Like when you recruit, see Rock Nation connected to Jay-Z and that brand connected to Notre Dame and one of their freshmen. It goes back to what you just said. You need things like that for young men to look at to say, okay, that's something that can happen for me as well if I choose to go to Notre Dame.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to Notre Dame, the possibilities are endless, right? We're talking about one of the blue bloods in college football. You got to be serious academically, though. You have to want to be there and be serious about your grades and whatnot. But you playing on a national stage week in and week out. There's a lot of positives that come with going to Notre Dame. There's a lot of guys that I know that went to Notre Dame that have some big time jobs, and it's a lot of guys that I know that went to Old State U that are substitute teachers and they pick up trash. And there's no knock to anybody who's substitute teaching or is a trash man, but I think that kids, though, the way that recruiting is now, it's forcing a lot of kids to look at things that are more important to them than maybe education, because the money is definitely a major factor. And when you get in the room with those kids and those families and you're trying to convince them that something has more value than money, that's a hard sell right now with what's going on in recruiting.
Yeah.
Does that throw out the whole aspect of tradition in college football and the essence of why recruits want to go to schools? They grew up being fans, going to games. As a recruit, you almost can't even look at that now, or does it still play a factor in the kid?
The tradition of that's over with. That's something that we care about. Kids now don't care about that.
Right.
Like Notre Dame and Miami, and like kids don't want to hear that no more, man. They want to know what is in it for them, what's the best deal for them, and what situation are they in currently that can improve themselves financially for down the road. But us talking to them about the Four Horsemen and Lou Holtz and win one for the Gipper and all that, that's over with. Like kids, that's not interesting to kids, and you wasting your time talking to them about it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Once again, pleased to have Coach Carl Reed, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, college football analyst, on with us right here in the Lucky Lefty podcast. You can follow him at Coach Reed Live on Twitter and Instagram. He is a fantastic follow for everything life, culture, college football, sports, period. Go follow him right now. As we move forward, the city of St. Louis continues to put out and produce top-notch talent around college football. And Notre Dame is going to be invaded by the St. Lunatics this weekend for visits. They have Christian Brothers 23 target Jeremiah Love coming in. Christian Brother 24 target Jeremiah McClellan coming in. Number one wide receiver from St. Louis University, Ryan Wingo, will be on campus. And then 23 commit from DeSmet, Christian Gray, is coming to town. And the influence on the Saints from St. Louis on this roster continues to grow. It's almost like, man, what is this coaching staff tapped into that previous coaching staffs maybe didn't see coming out of that city? The level of talent, is it just on par, or have you seen an increase in the surrounding area of St. Louis over the last couple of years that is really causing a lot of big time programs to come back to St. Louis and pull from that talent base?
The talent level's been really good for a really long time. And when you think about Ezekiel Elliott, what he did at Ohio State, what Ronnie Perkins did at Oklahoma, what Jameson Williams just did at the University of Alabama, those kind of players are in the city year in and year out consistently. And the group of guys you just named that'll be on campus at Notre Dame this weekend, if you can get all of them, you got special times ahead, because that's a great group of players.
Yo, Stanford, Notre Dame, St. Lunatics will be in the building. And I heard through a little birdie that they might be doing an all St. Louis photo shoot this weekend. So
St. Louis guys, man, have great relationships with each other, and one typically follows the other. That's how it's always trended over the years. These guys grow up together. It's a real tight-knit community, playing ball with each other, against each other. And so it's a special time if you're a guy from St. Louis.
Let's talk a little bit more about what's going on in college football on the field. You have the situation with, we asked some people after Bryce Young was injured against Arkansas, like if you were his support system, knowing that he's guaranteed probably to be one of the top 2 picks in the upcoming NFL draft, like would you suggest that he sit out or make sure that he's 100% healthy? And Left was the one that said, hold on, man. If you know Bryce Young, they're not keeping that dude off the field. Like it's not even a discussion. There's nothing they can say. In your opinion, does he play this weekend against Tennessee?
Yeah, I think he's going to play. I mean, he's Bryce Young. Like, you don't get that good by not playing football.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what a lot of guys don't realize is if you're going to play football, the risk of injury is always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be a great player, you got to look that kind of in the face, And so I remember when Zion Williamson busted his shoe out for Duke in the basketball game, and everybody, he should shut it down. He shouldn't play. Why shouldn't he play? What reason would he have not to play? Number one, Bryce Young is already a millionaire through NIL. Okay, he's already made millions of dollars. All right. Number two, he's going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft, whether he plays or not. So why wouldn't he go out and play? He can go out and hurt himself more. He's still going to be the top pick in the draft. So he wants to go out and he wants to win a national championship, which is the thing that he's there to do that he hasn't done yet as the starting quarterback at Alabama. So that's the thing that he's focused on, winning for us. Like those guys at Alabama are serious about winning, and he's probably the most serious.
What's the biggest shock to you this college football season, whether it be a team or a firing, when it happened? Like, what's been the biggest shock to you?
The biggest shock to me is the amount of schools that fired their coaches in September, knowing that at the end of last season they had big problems. Paying out those huge buyouts and firing guys 2 and 3 games into the season, it just shows that you weren't really prepared to run your football program properly. And I think a lot of administrators need to be called to task on some of the decisions they're making and the money that they're losing for their universities. You knew a lot of these programs were in trouble, and you didn't put yourself in the best situation to move the programs forward.
Yeah, as simple as that. Is there any team that's kind of surprised you with the way they performed?
Well, I'll say that Clemson has really surprised me because DJU has played better than what I think anybody could anticipate it. He really struggled last year. There was a lot of talk about him potentially being benched for Clay Klubnik, the big-time freshman that Clemson has out of Austin Westlake, and he has silenced the haters. And instead of winning in spite of him, they're winning because of him. And he's playing football at a really, really high level right now. He's great in the passing game. He's making tremendous plays. He's showing that he's really understanding what they're doing offensively. So I would think that Clemson was the surprise because a lot of people were picking NC State to win the ACC, and he completely dismantled them at home at Clemson.
Yeah, I agree with you. Elite, we talked about it preseason when we heard what he had to say at Media Day for the ACC. We both kind of like had our eyes open wide, like, okay, this is a different dude. Just like the way he's presenting himself. It's like, okay, maybe he has, of course he had to come out and show it, but you can see preseason like, okay, he has a different mindset.
And I think, when you talk about surprises around college football, I don't think there's many surprises anymore because of the transfer portal. I see somebody in here says, well, with LSU, they may not win 7 games, or you got Oklahoma in the position they're in. They all lost a lot of dudes. They lost them either to the NFL draft, they lost to them to transferring, and it's going to take some time for some of these programs to restock their rosters. A lot of guys are lucky that the NCAA took away the 25 scholarship limit per class, so they would really be in trouble, and at that top level, it's not always enough great players to go around, so you got to right now in this day and age, you got to stop thinking about the logos, right?
Mm.
And that, these 7 to 8 programs are going to be head and shoulders above anybody else. There are a group of 5 programs that are getting 35 to 40 Power 5 transfers in a year, and it's completely changing the dynamic of their roster. And now they're beating some of these teams. Look at Appalachian State. Look at Marshall beating Notre Dame. Some of those teams have really, really increased their talent level through the transfer portal, and that is a great game changer. You're not going to get any more kids that are going to redshirt, develop, and by the time they're redshirt sophomore, junior, they're starting for the first time, and you can just plug and play guys. Those guys are going to leave the moment that they realize that they won't be playing in a couple of years. They're going to try to find a place where they can play.
As always, it's been a pleasure to have our big bro, Coach Carl Reed, on with us on the Lucky Lefty podcast. You can follow him at Coach Reed Live right now, Twitter, Instagram. You're rocking TikTok too, Coach, right?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok, man. I kind of like that little thing. And, I see all the little weird dances on there, man. I may have to bust a move on these.
That's right.
That's
right.
That's what's up. Let everybody know where you're at daily and where they continue to see you.
Man, you can watch us on the block daily, 24/7 Sports YouTube page, man. It's great to be here, guys. Follow me, like he said, on Coach Reed Live on every medium. You can even add me on Facebook, and if you hit me, I'll talk to you, man. Don't be a stranger.
Coach, I wish I had known you were going to be in Chambin a little sooner. I would have came down there and went to one of the local spots and kicked it with you. Okay, man, let me tell you something. For those that don't know, look, in Illinois history, Kerry Davis was a dude. Like, don't get it twisted.
Well, I got a state championship with him, so I know from the very beginning.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
He was a dude.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you, man. We'll be talking to you soon. Man, stay safe.
All right, guys. Y'all be good.
You too. That's Coach Carl Reed. Always pleased to have him on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Malik.
Right.
We said some things yesterday. Well, actually, we didn't say it. The head coach of Notre Dame said it. And some people, that might be covering the team, kind of had problems with it. A few fans, So I felt it's only right that we, let the head coach of Notre Dame, especially since we're talking about whether or not Marcus Freeman is a little bit too honest, let him go ahead and explain himself once again. So, Coach Freeman, talking about his quarterback and his offense.
He's starting to make some plays where he's improvising a little bit. I know the one he's falling down, he throws the ball to Audric, and we're kind of like, oh, okay. That's one that we thought he's probably going to take a sack. But that comes with confidence. I think when you start making the right decisions, you take care of the football, now you're seeing them start to make plays. And what you're also seeing is some receivers and a tight end make them look really good. Now you're seeing them start to make plays. And what you're also seeing is some receivers and a tight end make them look really good. Now you're seeing them start to make plays. And what you're also seeing is some receivers and a tight end make them look really good.
We didn't say it. We didn't say that. The head coach said that. Did we not warn the fan base that after the loss to Marshall and the injury to Tyler Buckner, do not do Drew Pine the disservice of making him the main reason why things change? And what's happening? People are trying to make him the main reason why things have changed. And he really hasn't even been tested yet. This is the thing. He's yet to take an exam.
This is the foolish pot of gold that they're falling for. There's the Irish pot of gold and there's the foolish pot of gold. The foolish pot of gold is to believe these bad teams that we beat are the are only beaten because we've got a guy changed at the quarterback position. It's not necessarily the case. Like I've been saying, we would be on the same pace if Tyler wasn't hurt. These teams are not better than us. You know, you can't just jump the gun too early. Like let us play a team that we might not win. Let us play a team that is not going to allow a third string quarterback to beat them. Let's wait.
Like, fam, let me tell you something. The fact that people got upset because we pointed out something that your head coach flat out said the skill position players are making him look good.
Make him good plays. You see Jaden Thomas caught it underthrown ball with a guy that wasn't looking on the guy. It wasn't like he placed the ball nice in the pocket over the shoulder where he could just run into the end zone. He had to make an amazing catch.
And we appreciate Drew Pine for doing exactly what we said he needed to do.
Giving guys chances, spreading the football out.
That's all we asked. And we asked for 220 and 2 touchdowns. And he's giving us 286. He's giving us 268. I mean, look. If he doesn't turn that ball over and throw that interception in the fourth quarter, the game isn't close. You're not sweating that out. Notre Dame wins that by double digits. All right, because they're driving down the field. Marcus Freeman mentioned that on Monday. So, look, don't make mistakes. Play within the offense and let the talent around you help you be efficient. That's it. And as a fan base, I saw someone say they owe him an apology because they were screaming for Steve Angeli. Apologize. By all means, apologize. But let's relax. Let's relax. This is about the totality. This is about the totality of this team. And Tommy Rees talked about his quarterback and the offense getting better.
Not allow success to mask any of the things that we're focusing on. We're focused on improvement. We're focused on getting better. You know, the message has to be consistent. You know, we can't all of a sudden pretend like we got it all figured out because there's still plenty of coaching opportunities. There's plenty of learning opportunities on the film. And, you know, we got to find those and make sure that we're continuing to get our guys in the right spot. And we have hungry kids that want to get better.
Look, you love hearing that from the offensive coordinator. Tommy Rees said, we got hungry kids. We have to continue to get better. Period. I love hearing that. Like, he knows, like, yeah, we're on a 3-game roll, but we're leaving a lot of points on the field every week. Like, that has to change.
I think it's, you know, situational football, things that they probably would want to execute on in moments in the game that they probably won't get back, but need to be able to be prepared for the next time. Yeah, we can put up a bunch of points in the first quarter, first half. But if we can't score in the third and go 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter on third down, in the fourth quarter, those are hard things to really, you know, swallow in a victory as well. So there's many things that we can execute on better. And I think that's, as long as that's the focus, you know, as long as that's the focus, we can be in the right spot.
Absolutely. And I appreciate, you know, Tommy Rees talking about that. And then he talked about the development and the ascension and what we're seeing finally, production-wise, from Jaden Thomas, someone we heard about, you know, how well he performed in practice and what he was putting. But Malik, I want you to hear something that he says in here that connects to what Marcus Freeman said that we spoke about earlier in the week.
He's a kid that's put in all the work, does things the right way. You know, I told the offense, like, he's one of my favorite kids to watch on film, just the enjoyment he plays in and game out. You know, he's focused on doing the little things. So it's always great to see that work, you know, pay dividends for a young player. And, you know, when guys start to build confidence, sometimes their games can go to the next level. And, you know, we're hoping to continue to build some confidence in JT.
Yo, happy for the kid. The thing I heard, he fell in love. The production wasn't there, but he was loving what he was seeing on practice film. And this goes back to what Marcus Freeman said yesterday. I don't have gamers. I don't want gamers. So obviously this staff puts a lot on practice film when it comes to trust and putting kids in the game. Like, I'm not here to debate whether that's right, wrong, or whether or not you should disagree, but they're telling you, once again, if someone tells you or shows you who they are, believe them. They're showing you. We put a lot on what these guys put on film in practice as far as how we can trust them and give them reps. Don't shoot the messenger. This is what Tommy Rees just said.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is, the way it's been. Got to be solid in practice throughout now. Even, which has hindered us in some ways, but in other ways has made us consistently get better each and every year. And I think guys that are gamers tend to, get better with practice once the demand is there, and that makes them a better player as well. So it works out for the most part, but there's times where, when we're in need of a talent base splash or position, we need to be able to apply that as well. Not a permanent change, but something to be able to be adaptable. Like Coach Carl Reese said beautifully, you got to be able to adapt to what you got.
Yeah, Michael Johnson, we thank you for tapping in as always. We're 3-2 and haven't played a complete game yet. We need to be more effective in the red zone and on fourth down. No reason why we can't get 1 yard. Yeah, those short yardage stops on fourth down, I agree with that. Especially if the offensive line is going to be the strength of this team. And that's on the running backs too. Because I felt like Audric Estime made the wrong cut and ran straight into the linebackers. If he goes to the right, Blake Fisher and Josh Lugg are doing a great job of collapsing that defensive line, and he probably gets the first down. So it goes hand in hand. Jay Montalbano. Pine has done everything asked of him. He's 3-0. Give him credit. We've given him credit. We're just not about to lie and say he's the reason and the sole reason why things have changed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's done what we asked him to, man.
That's it. And the head coach
didn't turn the ball.
Told you. Pretty much. He's not the main reason. It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting he said he's 3-0. No, Notre Dame's 3-0.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's 3-0. No one said Tyler Buckner was 0-2. People said Notre Dame was 0-2. Then let's keep the same energy. Notre Dame's 3-0 in the last 3 games. We gave Drew Pine credit. We were the ones that called him the people's champ last year. So, look, we know who he is. We know his limitations. And all we ask is that he doesn't turn the ball over. And if he doesn't turn the ball over, with the talent around him, they're going to win the vast majority of their games.
Agreed.
That's it. That's all we asked. Now, if you want us to be over here just falling out and fainting over dude, that's not happening. That's not happening. And if other people that cover Notre Dame, if they want to do that and be upset about what we say or what Marcus Freeman said that we point out, then so be it. This is about the team. Notre Dame is going to dig itself out of the hole that it created with the team, not players.
Not players.
The team. It's not going to be players. It's going to be collectively the team that gets it done. Lucky Lefty podcast. Good to hear Al Golden. Jalen Sneed made his first trip on the travel squad. Good to hear Al Golden talk about, and was this something we said? The youngsters in the freshman class at linebacker weren't ready. As much as we angst over the play of the linebackers, the freshman linebackers weren't ready.
Right.
Certain ones weren't ready physically. Others weren't ready mentally. Really good to hear how Jalen Sneed, and talk about that, Left, how much more easily it is to develop as a freshman during the season and practices when you get reps than just coming in June or July getting to campus and going into fall camp, because everything is so fast to get ready for the season. Now things slow down a little bit, and it's a lot easier for these freshmen to kind of get their mind wrapped around what they're being asked to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I just appreciate the fact that these guys are trying to implement some sort of system of order.
Yeah.
You know, you go through the ranks of learning.
Mm-hmm.
We trust you. You see results. We throw you out there. I think that's what's been keeping us producing NFL players the way we have because of this structure. I'm glad Marcus Freeman is continuing to believe in development at the skill position, not throwing guys out there too early to get exposed if it isn't necessary, and especially trying to develop his personal class, his first class he's brought in at that linebacker unit, even with Prince Colley, because he's been there before the head coaching job, trying to really get into Prince Colley on a full level before he just unleashes the beast, in my opinion. He's got great support staff, and like he said, he challenges his coaches to coach better. So I think with that being said, and Tommy also loving to see what guys put on practice film. They're taking the steps to try to develop guys for a 4-year, which probably keeps guys there in a sense too. They're feeling themselves get better each and every practice.
And Blake Fisher, your starting right tackle, you know, he's only played 7 games. Yeah, that's crazy to think that. You young man, talented, probably had his best collegiate game against BYU, and he talked about what's made the offense go, specifically the running game.
Collective as a group, you know, we block, you know, Drew gets the ball to him, hands it off. The receivers are blocking downfield. Running backs got to make somebody miss, you know what I'm saying? It's not all, just us, just the running backs, just the QB, just the receivers. You know, we're all collectively working together as one, to complete the mission.
You hear that? It's all about the group. It's about the group. That seems to be the message that's coming down from the head coach. If we're going to be successful, it's going to be about the group. And the guys seem to be echoing the same thing. Blake Fisher also talked about the impact. We knew it was coming, right? You knew it was coming. You experienced it yourself on practice fields. But Harry Heastand means a lot to this young man.
Oh, yeah.
And it's changed my game a lot. From my stance to just get to the ball, I guess. I mean, he just brings a different type of energy to the room, and that standard that you kind of heard, before he was here, is truly in play, and we embrace that, and we embrace that every day. Coach Heastand, I mean, he's changed my game a lot, changed how I think about the game, how I prepare for games. Just how I think about, different blocks, different techniques. So, kudos to him. But, still, we're improving every day. Punch can still be better. I'm not ever satisfied with anything that I do because, obviously, everybody's still working.
That's what you like to hear, bro.
Eat from the fruit of knowledge, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Get greedy and fat off of that, man, because that's a wise words being passed to you. And it's like he said, man, change the way you think about the game. And Heastand does that day one. And the intensity he brings, the energy, like he changes the room. That's very true. So it's one of those things to where Notre Dame has got the right people in place on an administrative level, a head coaching level, for guys to trust that if they go there, they can individually have success, but also as a group continue that chain of guys going to the league and thereafter.
So Al Golden had an opportunity to meet with the media as well, bro. Things have been going well. He's happy with the way his defense is played. But of course, what was brought up was the explosive plays and the lapses in focus. You have to love. I can't wait for you to hear what Al Golden had to say about those times and those lapses and those explosive plays.
If we can just fix some of those letdowns that are, creating the explosive plays, and some of those calls are on me. Some of those I got to put our our guys in a better position, including last week with Mick on the 53-yarder. I mean, I gotta have a better call. We gotta coach it better, and I failed him. I put him in a bad position in that spot, and it hurt the team. So we got to do it. We overall, we just have to be consistent every play, and if we feel like we can't execute something, then throw it out. And
this was not staged, Notre Dame fans. This is not ND media staging what you would like to hear from a coaching staff, from Marcus Freeman to Tommy Rees to Al Golden. This is authentic conversation and information being conveyed by a coaching staff. We know you haven't been used to that. We know you haven't been used to having access to the assistant coaches. We understand that. But sit down. We don't want you to pass out. It's real. You can believe it, and it's going to continue. And yes, you just heard a coach tell you, I put the player in the wrong position. That's on me.
That's on me. I have to
call it coach it right. Yes. And I didn't coach it right.
And a lot of that comes from having a staff that's fearless and follows their leader on taking accountability. Marcus Freeman, you've heard him before, take accountability, put it on the coaches, take it on himself, and not focusing on making it a divisive thing between him and his team. And I think the coaches have taken a lesson from that. And no, they aren't feeling the pressure of Marcus Freeman of, man, if I'm out here honest, I'm going to passively, aggressively get, bullied around this thing, or I got to see articles written about me somehow from an inside source, or, I'm, treated differently now because I'm saying stuff, but I can't tell because everybody's so passive. So that energy is out of the office, which is great. Now guys can go in there and just be like, look, I didn't call it right. And have the confidence to say it because they feel that they're going to be there for a while. And they have the time to develop guys and trust that the guys are going to get better under their direction. And I think that's what you want in a healthy coaching environment, especially when it comes to the team and how they get better, young guys and veteran transfers. And it plays into what this program is going to be and spell out for what it's going to have in the future. And I just think that's going to be consistent development.
Yeah. Stanford Cardinal, they limp into South Bend Saturday evening. Prime time to take on the Fighting Irish. Al Golden likes his defense, but knows even though Stanford is humbled by the loss they just had, and they might not be at their best physically with injuries, they still have a few weapons, and we have to be ready.
Yeah,
whatever we got to do to block out the outside, it's not, it's immaterial to our success right now. What we do in practice is and how we prepare is gonna show up on game day. And we're playing a team that prides itself on toughness and being football smart. And they have big time wideouts that can get down the field, and a couple of really good tight ends that will be in the game, and a trigger man. So it's going to be another great challenge for it. And the challenges aren't going to stop. So. It's really important that we remain consistent throughout, and that's what we're doing.
The word for this week is consistency that we heard from both Tommy Rees and Al Golden.
Yeah, you want to have consistency. I think you're going to get a lot of that, especially the more trust that you get from these guys in practice. Like he said, if it doesn't work, throw it out. And the challenges don't stop, especially not at Notre Dame. So these guys are going to have to play at another level mentally on being able to change week in and week out, get used to the different adjustments, even though it may be the same cost, a different adjustment. Little things like that are what young guys have to learn or focus for. And those freshmen and younger guys learning the system are going to get better. And I trust the coaching staff with their honesty that they're going to do it. I don't think they just go tell us that they need to coach better and then don't do it, because that'd be crazy.
Man, facts. At least we have seen evidence of those improvements.
Yes.
That's the thing. We've seen evidence, right? And so when you see evidence, it's like, okay. And that's when we asked, I think Monday, we asked the confidence level that you have with this team now from LL Nation. And most people still said they want to see more, but they're far more confident than they were after starting 0-2.
That's right. That's right.
Fact. Lucky Lefty podcast. We appreciate you guys today. But the question of the day was Marcus Freeman a little bit too honest? We see in the chat people embracing his honesty. Some people saying, yeah, he might be a little bit too honest, but he'll learn as he goes on and might not communicate as open as he does right now. So we appreciate you guys on the climb to 3,000, doing big things. I felt like we need to clarify. You did. I felt like we needed to clarify what's going on. We've been getting a lot of messages saying what's going on with Locked On. And I'm going to give some information. And then if Malik wants to extend upon that, I personally asked to be released from my contract from Locked On last week. Unfortunate that certain things just could not be agreed upon from an HR standpoint to allow us to go ahead and do what we were being asked to do and what we wanted to do. And regardless of what took place, it still turns out to be a blessing for us and what we've been able to do, which is to come and just join you guys either every day, talk college football, specifically Notre Dame. And anything you want to add to that, Lee?
Yes, today's price is not today's price.
So we will have some news coming up probably early next week because we didn't just leave without a plan. We have a plan.
Over something.
Yeah, we will be landing in a certain spot really soon. And we're appreciative because your support has put us in this position, this advantageous position to be able to do what we love to do. All right. Comments before we get out of here, bro. Let's see. We did that one. Oh, I think Jay responded again. I'm not knocking TB or the team. I understand the team is playing better now overall, but Pine might just be part of that reason. Kid's a gamer and his teammates respond to him.
Yeah, tell me that after November 5th.
Yo, look, man, I'm just appreciative that the schedule was what it was, right? And we faced Ohio State week 1 instead of being 0-2 and facing Ohio State sometime in October.
That's right.
The schedule gives us a chance to get right from a ranking standpoint and to get right as a team. And that's all you can ask for. And if everyone collectively continues to improve, Notre Dame will be just fine because the rest of the season is about them as a team getting better, and that's it. If they play up to the level that we feel like they could play up to, including Drew Pine, Notre Dame will be just fine. I love this one, Malik. Irishman, the little big house hater. I like that. I like that. Just figured it out. Coach Freeman is a younger version of Coach Dungy. Hey. If that ends up being the case, that's not bad.
So we got us another.
That's not bad at all. I'll rock with that. Lucky Lefty podcast. So we thank you guys. Hit the like button. Share. Let everybody know Lucky Lefty podcast, the fastest growing podcast covering college football and Notre Dame football.
Click the link to make you think.
Yes, sir. We spin it different. But you know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, petty stories of the day, brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. calm. Look, man, I have to put Yordan Alvarez on the Petty train. Look, man. Look, walk-off homers in the playoffs are one thing. But he was stunting on them dudes, bro.
He was stunting on them.
He was stunting on them dudes when he hit that game-winning home run yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
That dude didn't start, man. That dude was chirping it up with his teammates. They had already jumped out of the dugout. I'm like, bro, you got to run around the bases to make it official.
Yeah. He over there couldn't even wait. He just, that's right. That's right.
Bad Petty. I want to call out the Golden State Warriors front office. They made the two combatants. Well, really, I don't know if Jordan Poole can be considered a combatant.
Victim.
Right? They made them sit down and hash things out. I think it's kind of petty not to suspend because the offense should have been warranted a suspension.
Yes.
I don't care if it's a 2-3 games.
But
the reports are they didn't want him to miss the ring ceremony.
Whatever.
He already has rings, bro. It's like he's experienced it already.
That's pretty petty.
That's if I was Jordan Poole, I'd be like, man, look, I need more.
I need more.
I need more from my front office, dude. Basically, y'all let this man assault me and get away with it.
Well, not getting away with it is Devontae Adams, charged with a misdemeanor. That's
You might as well go ahead and just cut the check right now, bro. Just cut the check. Don't even let it go to court. Don't even let it go to court. He just got a big contract. Cut that man his check.
That's crazy.
That man might retire, bro.
Why he going? Somebody told him to do that. Somebody definitely told him. They said, "Man, what you doing, man? You got it on film? Man, you better go get you a couple 100,000. What you talking about?"
When I heard that he was at the hospital that night, I was like, "Oh, we already know."
Oh, he at the hospital for what?
Oh, he went to the hospital immediately afterwards. He was suffering from dizziness and other minor scrapes from the fall. That was the story. You already know. You already know what was coming. You already knew.
What?
Like, bro, you fell on your back. Like, man, come on, man.
Oh, man.
You know, somebody was telling him in his ear because, you know, he was contracted by ESPN.
Are you fighting if you Devontae?
He was contracted by ESPN for the program. He probably did his work post game and everything, and they kept asking him, "You okay?" Like, "Man, I'm straight. I'm straight." "No, you sure?" "Yeah, I'm straight." "Man, you should really go get checked out. You never know what could be going on, man."
Yeah.
And the more he thought about it, he was like, "You know what?
I am kind of sore.
Right.
I do kind of hurt emotionally.
My wrist, my elbow, my neck, and my back."
Yeah. Saw the thing on TV said he did kind of do it for no reason too, huh?
So, you know, he's going to have physical damages, punitive damages, emotional damages from having to see the clip over and over again on TV. I had to watch myself being assaulted by Devontae Adams over and over again.
Oh my God, bro. He might get $1 million.
Oh, man.
I don't want no money, man. Don't give me no money, man. That's crazy.
Bro. I think I might take that fall, bro. I might take that fall, bro. Like, the next time I go to a game, I'm going to walk right in front of an athlete like, "Oh, my bad." Like, I'm going to find an athlete that's ticked off after losing a close game and walk right in front like, "Oh, man, excuse me."
Oh, man. It ain't even cool to have no money no more, man.
No, it's not, man.
You can lose it that fast.
It's not.
Lose $1 million that fast, man.
Don't get me wrong. Hey, we sit here, we joke about it. Devontae Adams was a straight butthole in that situation. He immediately apologized. He immediately recognized
There is
what
no
he had done.
apology when you're rich. You gotta pay up.
Yeah, you do. You
There's
do.
no apology
You
when
know,
you're rich. You gotta dig it in pockets.
and I think the gentleman is doing way too much. I think he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot right now.
And he's gonna get the money too.
But ain't nothing wrong with you, man. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Emotional, punitive. What did you list them down?
Physical, emotional, punitive, the wages lost for having to take days off of work. I missed the next NFL game. All of that. Oh, his attorney is like, man, his attorney's adding it all up. All of that. All of that. His attorney is probably calling news outlets like, man, play that clip again.
Yeah, just keep playing it.
Keep playing the clip over and over again.
Every time that's another 10,000.
Oh man, Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll dig deeper into the numbers, and they are sad. Stanford, Notre Dame. It's sad. Yeah. This is no longer a rivalry. No. But based upon what we saw from Instagram, Keon Keeley's Instagram, it might end up being a very, very happy Saturday on and off the field for Notre Dame. Just keep that in mind. We'll talk to you tomorrow, same time. Have a great Wednesday, but most of all, make sure you spend it different.